Hey, what's going on? So, yesterday something interesting happened. Well, I mean, it's not really interesting. It's something that's like very common amongst, I guess, everybody in the way that they think. But it kind of inspired me to want to make this video, and I figured it would be a good opportunity to talk about it right now. So, I was working side by side with a couple people, and one of those individuals brought up a story about how he was upset because he saw a article about how a 1.5 month year old, 1.5 month old baby was drowned in Detroit or something along those lines, and then he was or that she drowned, and he was talking about like the parents and why he was so upset about that and stuff. And he was pretty worked up about it. And I asked him, did you know them or the parents or? And he said no. He saw an article on his phone. So the day before, we literally had a conversation because I was talking about, and I made a video about this recently too, that whatever you put inside of your head on a regular basis is gonna like feed into what you believe and what you think about on a regular basis. But the bottom line is, he got really legitimately worked up about this article about somebody that he didn't know in a place that he doesn't live, around a place that not even his family live around. He just saw an article and he got worked up over it. And immediately I had to think of it. It's just like, okay, so I've been studying a lot about like stoicism and stuff like that. And the idea is, like with a happy life, you have to be disconnected with that in which you can't control. And especially if you think about all these terrible things that are happening left and right, it's just like if you were aware of everything that was going on, you wouldn't be able to keep your head on your shoulders, because there's always heinous crimes always happening on a regular basis, but you're just unaware of them. Or another example, think of Caligula real quick, right? So Caligula, an old emperor, debatably one of the most tyrannical and worst emperors there ever were. Obviously, I wasn't there during these times, but from what I gather from what people have said, historians and so forth, he had incest with all of his three sisters, pretty much came close to putting his horse into office just because he wanted to make the senators look bad, and literally would have sex with people's wives while they were at the table with him. Or, you know what, maybe it wasn't Caligula, maybe that was Emperor Nero, I don't remember. There was one specifically where they would come and eat with him, and then he legitimately killed the other person's lover, and then put the head on their plate while they were there, and it was just the thing that was expected. Like, you couldn't contest his power, right? I know Caligula was one of the bad ones, but I know whether or not that story is specific to him or not, I'm not really sure. But the point of the matter is, whether or not you know about these things, even when I'm talking about it right now, does it really seem like that big of a deal? I mean, it's back in the day, right? Well, here's my issue with that, right? So, what exactly is the difference where you wouldn't get upset about something like an old emperor, like Caligula, where you would get upset about something like a child drowning in a pool? This guy literally killed people left and right. Like, he would sever their heads just to make a display and stuff like that. I mean, I don't want, I'm not a historian here, so I can't really talk on that, but, there are several people through history that have just done fucking ridiculous things, right? Way worse than allowing their kid to drown in a pool. But people get so damn worked up on it, and they keep forgetting it's just like, shit, this is really small potatoes, and I'm not gonna take away from, obviously, yeah, I get it. It's sad. It's a sad event. We don't want, like, kids to die before they have an opportunity to live their life. But the bottom line is, you being upset about that isn't going to help it. If you feel super moved about it and you want to actually do something, then go ahead and start a movement. go ahead and make it so you're actively helping prevent it in the future. Not to say you really can, because, as I said, heinous things are happening all around you all the time. You're just not aware of it. And the things like old ancient emperors and stuff like that. So what if it happened way back in the day? There's still heinous crimes, there's still heinous things that people would do, but you don't get upset about those. There's no difference. There legitimately is no difference. You might think, okay, it's now in this day and age, but what does it matter if it happened today or yesterday or 2,000 years ago? You could argue that the world was a little bit different back then, but they were doing things that were uncalled for that time as well. You feel a little bit of disconnect because you don't understand the times, perhaps. You might get, maybe you feel more emotional because it happened in your hometown, but honestly, it doesn't matter. It's all the exact same. The fact of the matter is, it doesn't matter how bad the crime was, how often it happened, or what happened. If it's out of your range of influence, it's out of your hands. And that's the end of it. And subtly is not the word. To passively sit back and complain about it, and yes, I would say that complaining is not an action, it is a passive thing that you do, because an action would be trying to find resolve for a situation that you find is to be an issue. However, complaining about a matter is doing nothing, especially if it's something that's disconnected from you. If you lost a family member, hey, they were with you for a lot of your life. Of course you're going to be upset. If there's somebody you don't know, you got to let it go, You can't be so influenced by the outside world, because if you were to treat that same philosophy with every negative thing that happened, you would legitimately be just disabled as a human being. You wouldn't be able to function properly because you're worried about things that are outside of your control and outside of even your scope of reality. Let these things pass, come and flow away. That's that's my whole spiel. I guess I had a more poetic way I wanted to say it and address the whole matter, but whatever. I was doing my motivational video and stuff last night and trying to figure it out a little bit more. I didn't have a whole lot of time to bust it out like I wanted to, so I figured I'd talk about it tonight. And I figured I still came across some of the key points. Stoicism teaches us that for these things that we have no control over is actually, in a way, beneficial, because I know that I have the luxury of no longer having to worry about them. Because things are out of your control has no reason to be worried about, because it doesn't matter how you feel about something, it doesn't change the outcome. However, by being disattached from it, you're able to use logical interpretation, and if you feel so moved, you can actually form a plan to do something about it, instead of being a bystander to the incidents. But that's all I got for you today. I'm here at work, so I wish you all the best of luck and good health, and take care.